So Martin Park kind of started for me, believe it or not, in a refugee camp in Southeast Asia. I worked in a refugee camp as a pediatrician for about 6 months and developed relationships with a lot of Hmong and Lao refugees, and it turns out many of them had relatives in Fresno. So I ended up bringing letters from the camp, looking up people here in Fresno, and many of them lived in the Lowell neighborhood. As I became friends with some of them, that meant spending a lot of time in the Lowell neighborhood, which kind of opened me up to having an interest in many ways, including ministry in the neighborhood.
And I moved to Fresno in 1985 to start a charter school at First Presbyterian Church. And I did that for 2 years, and then the church wanted to reach out to the community. And because of my background in education, we started an ESL class. And because we started the ESL class in downtown Fresno, it made sense that I lived there. And Marty and I, because we went to the same church, connected quite often because of our same interest in the Lowell neighborhood. And so in '91, before our first child was born, we moved into a house that was built in 1888 at 357 North Glen, which is now called Martin Park. Why did we do it? We did it because we knew it was what God wanted us to do. And it didn't take long to figure out that really what our job was to be skin on Jesus. We were to be the people that people in their neighborhood who were looking for hope, who were looking for answers, could come to the house and would be loved and cared for.
Before we got married and bought the house, I was having a Bible study with a half a dozen Lao teenagers. As the neighborhood changed over the years and morphed from more Southeast Asian to more Hispanic, and some things are happening even now. There's a young Hispanic man who lived down the street from us, who no longer does, who's about 25, that I'm meeting with every week still. Or just started in the last couple months, really.
So I think the needs of the neighborhood changed, the complexities of the neighborhood changed. We lived in our home for 20 years until our youngest graduated from high school. And Marty was doing missions overseas, and we decided that maybe God was relinquishing our responsibility that we felt to the neighborhood. We wanted people who were investing themselves into the lives of the people in the neighborhood. So through some different connections, we realized that our friend, the janitor, Oscar Rodriguez, and his wife, Julie, were looking to purchase a home in the Lowell neighborhood.
So God worked a miracle, and they were able to make the balloon payment when it was needed, and had another loan, which was just another way of confirming that that's where they needed to be, and that's what they needed to be doing.
We're thrilled that they're there, but we also realize, probably more than anyone else, that it's not an easy place to live. But I think that the great thing about it in God's kingdom, I mean, we passed the baton, but how they run with it is the way that God leads them. And it's going to be different than the way that God led us. But in the same way, when you're faithful to what God asks you to do, then God moves forward. So you can't drive a parked car, but when a car is moving, it will go, and they are going, which is great.
They're building on that foundation in many ways that we were not able to, for a variety of reasons. We're exceedingly joyful that they are there and are carrying on past what we were able to do.